Welcome, friends, to an extra holly jolly episode of A VGM Journey. And I'm your host, The Messenger. The track that we're playing in today's show is Blizzard of Balls from the game The Angry Video Game Nerd Adventures, and it was composed by Sam Beddoes. It's that time of year again where everyone is feeling very festive, and I know that not everyone celebrates Christmas, but I was going with a bit of a Christmas theme, and I asked around on the social medias, especially the VGM Journey Discord, for people and listeners that want to participate in a Secret Santa where they would pick a track for another listener. And I had quite a bit of people that were jumping at the bit to do it. So this is going to be an extra long episode of the show. And I probably should have clarified that the first track, the play-in track, is my gift to the listeners. I know that 2020 has been a tough year, and it's been a pretty crazy first year for the show, and I appreciate the support that I've been getting from all of you guys and for everyone that participated in this Secret Santa, which I think we should get right into that. So for our first Secret Santa thing, Scott McElhone has a gift for Voltz Supreme, the host of Voltz Supreme's Synth VGM Dream Stream Machine, and he wanted to give to Voltz this cover of Snowy from the game Undertale, which was composed by Toby Fox, and this arrangement was done by Patti Rudisill from the album Snowscapes, Dreamy Winter VGM. Let's give that one a listen. That song that you just heard was a cover of Snowy from the game Undertale, and it was originally composed by Toby Fox, and it was arranged by Patti Rudisill for the album Snowscapes, Dreamy Winter VGM, and that was Scott McElhone's gift for Voltz Supreme. Scott was telling me that he was torn between picking a synth VGM track or a dreamy VGM track, because Voltz, in a discussion on the Discord, made a comment saying, hey, dreamy VGM is possibly, my favorite kind of VGM. And Scottie decided to go for the latter. And I actually really dug this cover, especially really liking the original, so I thought this was well done. So thank you, Scottie. It was a pretty awesome cover, and I'm sure that Voltz will really like it. This next Secret Santa is involving Mike Levy of XVGM Radio. He gave the last Rican this pretty rocking track from Galaxy Fight Universal Warriors. The track was Eternal Beauty Forever, and it was composed by Masato, Araikawa, and Takayuki Sasaki. Let's get that one a listen. rockin' track that you just heard, that was Eternal Beauty Forever from the game Galaxy Fight Universal Warriors. It was composed by Masato Araikawa and Takayuki Sasaki, and that was Mike Levy's gift for the last Rican, the host of VGM Fight Club. This was a little bit of a tough one for Mike because he didn't really know the last Rican, but he knew that he hosted VGM Fight Club, so he kind of did a bit of quick research, try to get a good feel for what the last Rican was into, and determined that, hey, he seems to like rocking tracks, so I'm gonna give him a rocking track. Well, I mean, he's gonna give him a rocking track. And I'm actually really not at all familiar with this game. I couldn't even tell you what kind of game it was, but I will say I really dug that track. So thank you, Mike. I'm sure that the last Rican will love it. This next track, it was a gift for Utopia Nemo, and it's coming from Voltz Supreme. Voltz decided to give Utopia Nemo Bird of Paradise from the game Donut County, and it was composed by Daniel Koestner and Ben Esposito. That track that you just listened to, that was Bird of Paradise from the game Donut County, and it was composed by Daniel Koestner and Ben Esposito. And that was Voltz Supreme's gift for Utopia Nemo. That was a bit of an odd, calming track. And I guess it kind of helps that it's from a little bit of an odd game as well. I don't really know a whole lot about Donut County, but the gameplay that I've seen of it, it's pretty interesting. You mainly are controlling a hole, and you suck stuff up. Well, maybe not exactly sucking, but you move around and you have things fall inside of you. That's probably a really weird description, but I thought it was a cool track. So thank you, Voltz. For the next Secret Santa thing, this was from Muddle Madness for Mike Levy, and he decided to bring 2 tracks. And I'm really positive that Mike is going to love both of these tracks. They are Decisive Battle from the game Ufouria, the Saga, and that was composed by Naoki Kodaka. And the second song is Theme of Jun Akiyama from the game Natsume Championship Wrestling, and that was composed by Iku Mizutani, Kinuyo Yamashita, and Hiroyuki Iwatsuki. Those tracks that you heard back to back are Decisive Battle from the game Ufouria, the Saga, and that was composed by Naoki Kodaka. And also Theme of Jun Akiyama from the game Natsume Championship Wrestling, and that was composed by Iku Mizutani, Kinuyo Yamashita, and Hiroyuki Iwatsuki. And that was Muddle Madness tracks for Mike Levy. And I could tell that he really knows Mike well, because Mike really loves Naoki Kodaka and Iku Mizutani. Heck, Mike even got to interview Iku Mizutani back when he was on Pixel Tunes Radio with Ed Wilson. And I know for sure when he listens to this, he is totally gonna freak with excitement. So thank you, Muddle Madness, for both of those tracks. I know this next track, the person in question, they're going to totally freak with excitement as well, because Kung Fu Carlito brought this track for Chris Murray. It is Valestine Castle from the game Ease, The Oath in Felghana, and that was composed by Yukihiro Jindo. rocking track that you just heard, that was Valestine Castle from the game Ys, The Oath in Felghana, and that was composed by Yukihiro Jindo. And that was Kung Fu Carlito's track for Chris Murray. I know how much Chris Murray loves Ys. So I know he's always suggesting music from that series. He's probably one of the first people that I think of when it comes to Ys and Ys music. I think him and Purnell from Rhythm and Pixels, both of them are really into that music. And who could blame them? The soundtracks are quite amazing. Even though I don't know too much about the games, I know they're like action RPGs, but the music, I know quite a bit, and it's some really good stuff. So, thank you, Kung Fu Carlito. I'm sure that Chris Murray is gonna love this track. Next up, we have The Last Rican. He brought a track for Bedroth, the host of Very Good Music, a VGM podcast. And he brought a metal cover of Snake Man from the game Mega Man 3. It was originally composed by Yasuaki Fujita and Harumi Fujita, and this arrangement was done by Shinrei. That track that you just listened to, that was Snake Man metal cover from the game Mega Man 3. It was originally composed by Yasuaki Fujita and Harumi Fujita, and this was arranged by Shinrei. And this was Last Rican's track for Bedroth as well. I know that Bedroth will probably really like this. I mean, he's into some rockin' stuff, and I know that he loves Mega Man 3, so this is absolutely perfect. And I want to take a moment and say thank you to Bedroth. And on his show, Very Good Music, a VGM podcast, about a month ago, he did a spotlight on all kinds of video game music podcasts. And he talked about this show a little bit. And at the end, he got in touch with a bunch of people, and everyone left a very touching tribute to myself and the show. And I really appreciated all the nice words. So I wanted to thank him and everyone that got involved with that. So thank you. That meant a lot. I hope you really liked that track, Bedroth. And last Rican, thank you. Coming up next, we have Meatbug, who brought a track for Muddle Madness. And he picked the song Power Tower from the game Hurricane. And it was composed by, and I really hope I don't butcher this, Jorg Winterstein. That track that you just listened to, that was Power Tower from the game Hurricane. It was composed by Jorg Winterstein, and it was requested by Meatbug for Muddle Madness. That was a really cool track, and I definitely dug the synthy part of it. I know this track was for Muddle Madness, but I did think of Voltz Supreme while listening to it, so I think Voltz will definitely like that track as well. And I think one thing that I really like about when it comes to taking requests from people is listening to stuff that you don't even really know about, and you get introduced to some pretty amazing music. And everything that's been played on the show so far has been pretty amazing, and this is really amazing as well, and I appreciate this kind of stuff being played on the show. So thank you, Meatbug. I'm sure Muddle Madness will love this track. And this next track, it's actually for Meatbug. This is coming from Chris Murray. It is Stage 1 from the game Rendering Ranger R2, and it was composed by Stefan Kramer, Jorgen Orberg, and Jesper Olsen. That track that you just heard, that was Stage 1 from the game Rendering Ranger R2. It was composed by Stefan Kramer, Jorgen Orberg, and Jesper Olsen, and it was from Chris Murray for Meatbug. When I was talking to Chris about the kind of music that Meatbug likes, I only told him this one sentence. He is German and loves German-composed VGM. And about 15 minutes later, Chris comes back to me with this track, dumps a whole bunch of information on me, which I'm going to say right here, and this is what Chris said. Rendering Ranger R2 is a 1995 side-scrolling action video game developed by Rainbow Arts and published by Virgin Interactive for the Super Famicom. It was released only in Japan and has gone on to be one of the rarest Super Famicom titles in existence. It was designed by Manfred Trenz, a German developer who is famous for the Turrican video game series, which that's a good callback to Meatbug's track, as well as the Commodore 64 version of the game R-Type. He is currently developing games for his own company, Daenerys Entertainment Software. So I tell Chris thank you, and he says, I don't F around. And effing around, he definitely did not. This track is really good. So thank you, Chris. I know Meatbug's gonna love that. This next track comes from Bedroth for Kung Fu Carlito, This is Sakura Mankai from this game Street Fighter EX plus Alpha, and it was composed by Takayuki Aihara, Shinji Hosoi, and Ayako Sazu. Mankai from the game Street Fighter EX plus Alpha. It was composed by Takayuki Aihara, Shinji Hosoi, and Ayako Sazu. And this was Beddoes' track for Carlito. This is totally up Kung Fu Carlito's alley because obviously he loves video games, he likes fighting games, and he also likes Asian culture, specifically Kung Fu movies. And I definitely get that vibe from listening to this track. I'm not sure if Kung Fu Carlito's into Street Fighter, but if he is, then that's a bonus as well. So I'll be honest, I'm not really that great at fighting games. I mean, I kind of dabbled in Mortal Kombat and Killer Instinct, and then hell, I even consider Super Smash Brothers to be a fighting game. Street Fighter, it's a good time, and this track is a good time as well. Up next, we have Ryan Steele's gift for Scott McElhone. It is Guarded Maze from the game Brain Dead 13, and it was composed by Brian Jack. track that you just heard, that was Garden Maze from the game Brain Dead 13. It was composed by Brian Jack, and it was requested by Ryan Steele for Scott McElhone. That was a pretty cool track, and just like a lot of these other games on today's show, I'm really not all that familiar with Brain Dead 13, but doing some quick research, I saw that it was pretty similar to games like Dragon's Lair, where it's a full motion video and you have to make quick decisions, and the video will play out if you make the right decisions, and if you mess up, then you would get all these different death animations and stuff, and that's really cool. I think I want to check that out sometime. And this song was actually pretty surprising. I wasn't expecting it to be pretty rocking at parts. And speaking of the rock, this next track is from Utopia Nemo for Ryan Steele. And he did say this was for Ryan Steele, but he also had me in mind, and I think this is pretty amazing. It's called Devil's Lament, and it's a medley of songs from Doom and also Doom 2. The original tracks were composed by Bobby Prince, and this arrangement was done by Lashmush, and this was for the OC Remix album Paragons and Renegades. Let's give this one a listen. that amazing rocking track that you just listened to, that was Devil's Lament from the game Doom, and this was an arrangement done by Lashmush, and it came from the OC Remix album Paragons and Renegades. Utopia Nemo had this to say: "Greetings all. As St. Alex the Messenger has said, I drew Ryan, Catlandia Stevens' name, and the secret VGM Santa drawing. When he clarified that he loves symphonic metal tunes, I broke into a cold sweat. That happens to be a real blind spot for me. So off to Google I went. After hitting many dead ends, I found this firestorm of a track. I gotta admit, I'm not a fan of the original material, but this cover absolutely kills it. And being that it's basically the Doom version of Trans-Siberian Orchestra's rendition of Christmas Eve, it seems the perfect choice. Ryan and VGM Journey folks, happy Christmas." I gotta say, that is absolutely wonderful, Utopia Nemo. That, I don't know how Ryan's gonna feel about it, but this track is absolutely blew my mind, melted my face, and I kept listening to it over and over and over and over again. And this was probably the track that I was the most excited to share with everyone after I got all the submissions. And I know it's a little unfair that I'm saying that, but it really spoke to me. And that's gonna just about do it for the show this week. If you like what you've been listening to, have your friends check out the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, whatever podcatching service that you could think of. I'm more than likely going to be on there. And you can email the show at vgmjourney@yahoo.com. And you could also follow us on Twitter at VGMJourney. We also have a Discord for the show, so you could always find the link on the show notes. And if you like the show and you want to talk to everyone, especially the people that have suggested all this wonderful music, then I would check out that Discord. We're going to play things out with one more track, and this track is coming from someone very special and very dear to me, Carly Selesky. And the track that she's bringing is Sword Search on Koholint Island from the game Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. It was originally composed by Kazumi Totaka, Manako Hamano, and Koze Ishikawa, and this arrangement was done by Ryu Nagamatsu. I hope you guys have a happy holidays and a happy new year, and also have a good week.